Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just DCTV. Oh, yeah, I guess DCTV. Not really the Arrowverse, but the CW as a whole. So we do have The Flash Season 9 coming out in just under a month from now. Actually, about 4 weeks from now, roughly. But of course, this will be the last season of The Flash. So there isn't, any pressure around it, around it in regards to what comes next in the future, and I guess hoping and praying for a renewal of another season, season 10, whatever. The only pressure on the show, of The Flash, is to end on a good note. That's about it. But there are a good amount of shows, either airing right now on the CW or about to premiere in the next couple of weeks, maybe the next couple of months, that do have that pressure when it comes to renewal and stuff like that. Now, we have known for a while that Nexstar are now the majority owners of the CW of 75%, with Warner Brothers and Paramount only having 12.5% each, which obviously adds up to that remaining 25%. And Nexstar are looking for a reduction on production costs for their content in order to turn a profit. And this is going to come at a cost for the shows that would be used to seeing on the CW, whether it's over the past couple of years or over the past decade or so or something like that. But the thing was that, we weren't too sure to what degree they'd be looking to cut costs and stuff. But now we have sort of some idea thanks to a report from the Hollywood Reporter. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below and your confidence levels on certain things. Curious to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know. And of course, if you're new to the channel, not if you're new to the channel, but if you're going to enjoy the video, why drop a like on it? It takes 2 seconds. So the information that this video stems from was from the announcement of Greg Berlanti's new big mega deal with Warner Brothers Television. Now, what the Hollywood Reporter noted was that the new Nexstar controlled CW network is looking to renew or have it, at most 5 USA produced television shows, with Nexstar wanting to shift the business model to profitability, might I say, compared to what came before. So this is via using internationally acquired shows, which they've already started doing. I don't know if it's about half their catalog, but at least maybe a quarter to a third is international stuff, and this includes even stuff that was filmed in that's aired in Canada originally. Now, of course, the whole shift to a business model to be profitable was because the CW in the past did not need to be profitable from just airing its shows, because there was that mammoth, ginormous, Goliath-sized Netflix deal, worth about, I think it was about $1 billion, or just over $1 billion. But of course, both Warner Brothers and Paramount, who currently make the shows for the CW, they have their own streaming services now. So that money from Netflix just isn't there anymore. Now, the CW and Nexstar didn't have any, reply to this information, but it would have been surprising if they did reply to what the Hollywood Reporter is saying here. You don't usually get feedback from these type of things. But what does this mean for certain shows? Well, it's definitely a case-by-case basis. It won't be something like, one show being renewed automatically means that this other show over here will get renewed as well. The CW's new heads have stated that they are looking for a limited episode cost at around $1 million an episode when it comes to licensing fees specifically, which does make it difficult for anything that is a franchise related or reboot related. But they did also say that there could be exceptions for shows that do distinguish themselves from others. So this would mainly be, get some good ratings that then bring in better ads, which then bring in more money, which would balance off the higher cost of making that particular show and getting it out there. Now, there has been one show that's already been renewed for next season, which happened over the past week, if not couple of days, which is All American. Now, that was renewed for its 6th season, but that was the only show renewal at this point. Now, we're only into the 2nd week of this year, into mid-January. So it's very early in the year for renewals. It's probably just a lock up, actor or talent contracts and stuff like that. It's really when you get to April, May, maybe just after that, and there hasn't been really any information that, fingernails start getting chewed on. But the big question when it comes to the DCTV side of things, or this channel specifically, and just what most people watching would be interested in, what about Superman and Lois? Now, as I said, shows that distinguish themselves could be saved and keep going on into the future. And Superman and Lois is one of the shows that could, easily do that and be a part of, up to these 5 shows potentially that do continue, with maybe Walker being the other front runner, you would have to think, and maybe their spin-off as well. I'm just not 100% sure how that spin-off show is doing in particular. But one of the big things that will be interesting to see play out over the next like 4 to 5 months or so roughly is that renewal process and what does or does not make it, if anything does. There is that decent chance that a lot of these shows, if none of them, currently go on, and that from what we're used to seeing on the CW are renewed, except for All American, and then once again, that's very, very, very popular on Netflix. So I think it might be the last remaining show at the moment that isn't currently in its final season, like The Flash and Riverdale are, that airs on Netflix. Maybe its spin-off does, but also its spin-off did air on HBO Max as well after its first season ended. So it's a bit of a confusing one, but All American is the last like solely Netflix show. So that's probably a backing for it getting renewed as well, because it's very popular on Netflix. All the other shows that are there at the moment could be passed on. Now that would be drama alert if like All American was the only show to continue. But this could lead into one of the bigger transitions potentially on television's like history, or at least in recent memory, and that is the possibility of all the shows that belong to both WBTV and Paramount that are in the CW at the moment that haven't been renewed or won't be renewed, going home, if you want to put it, back to the respective streaming services of each studio. Now that would be massive, but it also wouldn't be every show, probably only the ones that perform well on the streaming service in question. Now, we know that Superman and Lois, for example, is a very strong performer on HBO Max, with it outdoing current HBO Max original DC shows like Titans, Doom Patrol, and Pennyworth, with Peacemaker being the only show to outdo it in views, and it's not by very much. Now, of course, there are certain legal loopholes to jump through, but if the CW does cancel it, you could see HBO Max and WBTV, potentially stepping in to save it, especially with Greg Berlanti's mega deal. He could definitely give a bit of a nudge. Hey, you put me in this big deal. How about saving this show? It's very popular on your streaming service. Throw me a bone. Now, we know that Stargirl was being shopped around, when season 3 was airing, and there were serious conversations about things progressing there where it could have been saved for a potential season 4 on a certain streaming service. Like HBO Max was mentioned. I think even Netflix was brought up, and some other ones as well. But it just couldn't be done in time because they also had to wait on the official word from the CW as to whether they were cancelling it, which wouldn't have helped with the potential saving of Stargirl because they had to wait for that decision. And funnily enough, Stargirl, has only come out on HBO Max over the past week or two, and it's the number one show on HBO Max this week. So the potential, or the number one TV show. Yeah, I was gonna say not number one on HBO Max, overall, but I think it's the number one TV show. So the potential for that going on is pretty clear just based off those, stats. So you would hope that if the CW is planning to axe Superman and Lois, or any show that has a potential on one of the two streaming services, that they do give the studios, more of a heads up, so they try and negotiate some form of survival elsewhere. Because one of the big issues is that, filming situations, like they've got to make sure they're on schedule and stuff. Like the thing with Stargirl is that, like, they were like over a year or something, I think, from when over a year, but they were past when they would normally start filming another season by like a good 3 or 4 months. So they were behind schedule anyway, and actors had signed certain things. So even if there was a potential for survival there, they would have had to wait even longer to start filming again. So that could be something with Superman and Lois where they'd want to get some information soon. So sets just aren't sitting there taking up space with no one filming in them, because that costs, you guessed it, money. So it will be a very interesting, next, 4, 5, maybe 6 months, and just see what happens. Now, of course, with all this change, that brings up death of the CW. Is it the death of the CW with all these limited or maybe no USA-based productions? Well, over the next few years, you'd have to think so. It wouldn't surprise me too much if the name of the CW is changed in years to come, whether it's changed to Next Star or Next TV or Star TV or something like that, and there aren't any remnants of what was there before. Obviously, they'd want to keep the CW branding for a certain amount because it's a known brand, but if there's no shows on there that line up with that CW branding, if you want to call it, that people would know from the CW, what's the point in calling it that? Like, we already know that the writing side of Hollywood when it comes to TV and even movies are worried about this, as the CW used to be a great pathway for TV writers and even directors, because the amount of TV shows that were on there throughout the entire year, and how many episodes there were. There's 23 episodes pretty much for every single show. It was a great pathway for so many writers and directors. So it's not just the shows that could be going away in regards to our viewing pleasure and a lot of other people's viewing pleasure, but it could be a lot of potential careers as well. So hopefully another avenue opens up in the years to come in regards to that side of things. But it's a big change up, and it will be interesting to see what things are like on that side of things once this is gone, whether it's in the next 12 months or in the next 36 months or whatever it might be. It's going to be an interesting landscape, and there is people worried, especially on the TV like production and behind the scenes side of things. But yeah, as I said, this isn't anything to worry about too much now, because we won't know for like another few months. Like we could get slow renewal stuff out, because like, for example, we got All American over the past week. So who knows, in a month they might randomly announce that Superman and Lois is renewed, but then Superman and Lois season 3 hasn't premiered. So we might have to wait till season 3 premieres and they get a reading on ratings before they do anything there. But as I said, I think the Netflix thing with All American probably helped it in its renewal, because it's the last show there as well in regards to that Netflix side of things. So yeah, I don't know if that's a really good example to use for any of the other shows, except for maybe its spin-off. But even then, who knows with that one. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on all the stuff we went over in this video. Very curious to hear what you guys have to say. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.